You see rows of toy soldiers guarding the rest of the trinkets. Wow, a very large red t-shirt with an impressive print stands out from the other garb. Oh yeah, the print depicts a muscled man striding toward you, a giant sword in each hand, encircled by burning embers. Behind him is a cluster of cabins engulfed in flames. Beneath him are the words, Hjelmdal burning. Smells like worn cotton, and a little old sweat there. Worn cotton with a side of flea market or trash bin.
Sniffing is okay, but please don't try anything on. Can't have you leaving your photon emissions in the fabric of things you're not going to buy. Hell yeah, man. I don't usually carry printed tees, but this one was just pure exemplar. A fan? No, I wouldn't go that far. But I do think the Hjelmdalaman saga is an integral part of our shared reality. Most people don't think that the man from Hjelmdal really existed, but they're wrong. I mean, even if the man from Hjelmdal didn't exist before the adventure novels, the stories have made it so that he has. It's simple, really.
Okay.
You sound skeptical. It's not that complicated. All that's required is a more robust understanding of cause and effect. Besides, I've been to Kotla, though not quite as far north as the Hjelmdal, and watched northern lights travel across the sky. Very unique, energetic tides there.
It's for the best, because Hjelmdal is not a real place, and thus he could not have gone there. His theory isn't exactly incoherent, but its logic does suggest some unusual neural activity. Interesting.
2 real.
That's dirt cheap.
But why? I suppose that makes sense, yes. Please go ahead and take it. Welcome to Hjelmdal.
Behind the dockworkers, a ceiling-height window. The hawthorn branches scrape. Behind the dockworkers, a ceiling-height window. There's a yellow ribbon tied to one of the branches. Light yellow, faded with time. A tiny splash of color in the blackness. Someone hid the key in the bush and attached the yellow ribbon to... It's close enough to the latch up there. One can slide it open and just take it. Surely not a coincidence.
Huh? I don't know about that. I'm comfortable here.
Sorry, fucko. Looks like you're gonna have to go bush diving. Good fucking luck with that. The hawthorn's got a bitch of a bite.
I'm gonna enjoy the sight of you.
With a loud thud, the old man stands up, pushes the window open. The key is brass. Workshop spare is etched into its bow. The old man closes the window and sits back down inside.
Come on, man. We would...
I'm tired of listening to your shit. Don't thank me. I don't give two shits about your key.
Didn't even know it was there. Boy,
Never even seen it. Someone must have hidden it there before this room became...
It could open the door in the kitchen.
It's worth a try.
You're seek a little wisdom from old Titus. Not everything.
You see, it could be connected to the barred door upstairs. The key fits the dimple lock. It takes a bit of effort to turn it. After all, the darkness before you smells like engine grease. Over there, in the corner. Not just any pinball machine. This is the pinnacle of pinball. Cornelius Gordy and the Mountain Goats. It's lit. You can't wait to get your hands on it. Lit, a phrase almost synonymous with the Insulindian pinball scene. Any pinball scene, really.
The pinball machine. Gordy's Goats. A classic. A little. Ah, great.
Cornelius Gordy and the Mountain Goats reads the golden lettering on top of the back box. Let's get the game on, Fingerboy. Those flippers are ready. Above the painting of a mustached man climbing a hill, a column reads, inspired by the legend of Cornelius Gordy, taken on the world's tallest peak, Corpus Muindi. The Mesk legend holds that when the nation is in danger, heroic Gordy shall return and save his people. The theme of the game is to explore Gordy's climb through the perspective of goats and to ascend to the top of the mountain in a time of trouble. The peak of the mountain is at the top of the playfield. All the balls have small goat icons on them and represent the goats as they race up and down the mountain. Areas around the playfield represent Gordy's climb, places he was said to have camped, which the goats can discover. Indeed, think of them as balls. These are some wonderfully regular pants. Not too tight, not too loose, moderate in every sense. I know you do. These Inter-Isolari pants are like wearing a perfect compromise in your nether regions. No one will call the moral intern on you like this, that's for sure. You're a little more moralist now, buddy. A little more normal. What's this? We're getting reports of normal, reasonable, temperate, political opinions somewhere in Martinez. Of course, a radical centre. It's time to become a citizen of the Kingdom of Conscience. It is not a place. It is a moment in time that can only arise in the right circumstances, incrementally. History's greatest catastrophes have been brought about by people trying to make the world a better place. Too quickly. That's the genius of Dolores Day. She recognized that progress is meaningless if its gains are lost because of instability. Real, lasting change can only come about gradually, increment by increment. Tisk tisk. Just because you live in the present doesn't mean you have the right to place your needs above the needs of the future. You may never live to see the Kingdom of Conscience. Your children may not. Even your grandchildren. What rationality? What benevolence? Do you believe the status quo is preferable to chaos and bloodshed? There you have it. Sometimes holding the line is progress. The kingdom is difficult to comprehend, partly because humanity will need to discard many of the categories that define and limit it today. The Kingdom of Conscience is post-capitalist, post-national. It's also post-industrial, post-ideological, and even post-sexual. Slow down, Mr. Reasonable. Did you miss the part about compromise? That's right. Remember, real democracy is just around the corner for Revachol. When that real democracy kicks in, a long time from now, we are all going to be so much happier. Over there, in the... not just any lit, a phrase almost synonymous with the insolent...
Ah, great.
Cornelius Good, get the game on, Fingerboy. Those flippers are ready. It takes a while to get into a rhythm, but pretty... Go, go, Fingerboy.
I feel sorry for the gods. If they only knew the kind of guy old Cornelius really was. The kind of a guy who uses the word savages a lot when recounting his travels. An avid huntsman too. He was often photographed in his dining hall, surrounded by wall-mounted hunting trophies from every continent. He also hit his wife and kids. Other people's kids too. Sometimes pets.
But you seem to be having fun.
Your game is definitely improving. The jolly goats are flying all over the board. And although a few plummet to their deaths, you're never left with less than 3. Suddenly, a special passage leading to the summit slides open at the top of the board. This is where the balls need to go. Maneuvering a goat ball into a position for a perfect hit isn't easy. More fall to their deaths. But finally, the opportunity presents. Tiny hammer shatters something inside the machine. Something glass. An ampoule? The words "pale rupture" light up on the speaker panel, and the machine starts filling with a thick, milky fog. Something's happening.
Congratulations. This is where the game ends. It's a cheap way of getting more money out of the players. A stupid nihilistic finale.
There's so much fog, you can barely see anything. Some is actually leaking out of the machine, and one by one, your goats start slipping, disappearing into the milky nothingness. This can be navigated. The balls leave almost imperceptible disruptions in the fog. Use them to calculate where they hit next. You're down to your last goat, going mostly by sound. Eyes are useless at this point. But that goat is something special. 5 times you snatch him back from the jaws of death. You're in a perfectly balanced system where neither you nor the pal is able to get the upper hand. This could go on forever.
I am. I've seen it before. Played it too. You will eventually make a mistake and then it's all over.
If you can't even see it. The last goat plummets into the fog with almost suicidal glee. There goes nothing. The machine is dead and silent. It needs serious maintenance. This small elevator smells of nougat and sweat. Your head brushes up against the ceiling. There is a control panel to your right. The maintenance card under the control panel reads, Last maintenance, 10th July, 88. There are large rectangular buttons, Monter, Descente, and an international call for emergency assistance. That third one appears to be broken. A small steel plaque reads Halter 800. Halter is a Koningsteiner lift company who went out of business a long time ago. The elevator stands open, inviting you.
That it does. I say, let's brave it. At the end of the last century, look on the bright side. If it fails, we will only sustain minor injuries. I'm talking 3.
It appears his whole enthusiasm is sarcastic.
Seems like a small freight elevator for transporting machinery. For that, it's pretty quaint.
So this is where they brought 40 pinball machines to fix them up. A long time ago. The lieutenant looks around.
At some point, 20 years ago, 15 maybe, before pinball went out of vogue. Looks like it. I'm guessing Martinez North 22 used to be a pinball arcade before it became a hostel? There are machines left over.
A creak.
Downstairs in the hall, next to the main door. One of them even works. I've seen one of the artists bang away at it. Ah, yes, as the novelty dice makers said, this has absolutely nothing to do with the case, I'm sure. But I do like a nice little connection.
But then it went bankrupt. Your skin crawls from making the connection.
If that's true, then our cafeteria manager is not going to like it. We should tell him what we found up here, omitting that suspicion. He does not appear to be the kind of man who likes his establishment to be part of a neighborhood ghost story about bankruptcy.
Stupid superstition. But still, it would be interesting to see what the cafeteria manager thinks of this. You clearly see footprints in the downy carpet of dust covering.
Jackpot. These, unlike everything else here, are new. 3 weeks maximum from the dust coverage. It could easily have been 1 week too. You know, the Blue Door was a mega investigation after all. It has now converged with our main investigation, which I would say is quite large. It means someone snuck through what seems like a secret route. This prince, officer, could be the prince of our killer.
Large prints, most likely made by boots. The size is hard to determine. Sole could be bigger than vamp. The soles have left a pattern, uniform, horizontal lines. This print is unlike one left by a regular worker boot. It is not a brand sole with logos on it. It seems custom made or old. Shoe size is 41 to 42, maybe 43. It could be a large-footed woman or a small to average-footed man. This is, unfortunately, the worst, most vague shoe size there is.
The size looks about the same, actually. They are not the same shoe, but they could be the same person. No, these little horizontal lines are different. They look custom-made to me. Or some kind of foreign print. Hard to say. Still a boot, though.
Everything around you is quiet. The prints crisscross the workshop floor. You can almost see the shape of a man and a woman writhing inside, bathed in drug sweat and dirty linens. Bottles lie around everywhere.
You can barely see through. Better not to jump to sensationalist conclusions here. The footprints on the floor, however, definitely suspicious.
Boring footprints. I want to jump to sensationalist conclusions. You lean closer to the peephole instinctively. I bet they're doing something quite unnatural there. This is the barred door you tried to kick in before. The door shudders a bit, as though it were laughing at you.
Unless we've veered off into a folded M dimension, I'm expecting to step out.
Folded M dimension, a reference to the popular science fiction series, In System. Look who's in a good mood suddenly, and reads science fiction. Bent metal, broken glass. Your path lies strewn with the broken forms of everyday objects. You are the destroyer, the bane of inanimate matter. Kudos.
I was just thinking, what a nice day for questions. Oh.
Did you take the...
No, of course not. As I said, it would have been too risky for me to use those documents.
She doesn't seem to be lying. She's genuinely spooked by their disappearance.
Yes, I am. Regardless of who took the document. It was probably just an accident. I was worried I'd been too careless with the latch. The documents were probably just washed away.
All these mesmerizing machines, just waiting to be plugged back, feels like it might jump back to life any moment.
Some kind of inane pinball theme, probably related to Messina during the DeLorean age. The history themes are the one.
Deora was one of the 3 crown cities of the DeLorean era, on the Muindi Isola, the others being Ria Silvia and Advesperasket. This theme is all about early airships and beautiful, sad, pearl-laden women. It's quite nice. The lieutenant grimaces looking at the machines.
You can't fire them up. They are broken. Only that one machine in the main hall works. The Royalist Pinball.
What a dumb name. Royalist Pinball. If they weren't broken, he would kick one of these machines.
No, I love it. I love pinball. Who doesn't?
He doesn't. Kim, Pinball, Kitsuragi. Exactly. That's what he's known as. His reputation precedes him.
So now he remembers. Fine, I'm Kim Pinball Kitsuragi, aka the Kimball. You remembered. Congratulations. No human being should. It is a game that requires no skill and a childlike affinity to flashing lights and to fantastic, science fiction. It is lame. I am not called Pinball. It was used to taunt me a long time ago, before I became a homicide detective and got my lieutenancy. Fine. I was a juvenile police officer for over 15 years. It's how I started out in the RCM. Once I had to infiltrate a pinball ring, as you do when you're a juvie cop. It was not okay. I needed to become a pinball champion. I trained for 9 months. The job was successful and I was moved out of the juvenile wing to homicide. End of story. That time is over now. I was already a 38-year-old man. It was unbecoming, as was playing pinball. It's best if you handle the juvenile delinquents. No. You're gonna call me Lieutenant Kitsuragi. Or, on rare occasions, Kim, because it's shorter. Let's go.
Any plan to call him Pinball or Kimball is immediately wiped from your neocortex, as if with some...
Hey.
Well, well. Bringing in that new bird sure made a difference in his attitude.
Another thing. Great. I love those. Oh, okay. Well, I did hear you make noise back.
It takes a lot of willpower not to ask. Obviously, he's been wanting to...
Okay, what is back there? Ha! I knew it. I've always wondered where those machines by the door came from. And they told me there was some kind of pinball thing here too. I knew it. Were there any back there? In working order, I mean. No, I was just wondering if you found pinball machines.
He was wondering about something business-related, about how much money he could make of one.
Those machines are whirling property. But if it makes you feel any better, I'm not... It wouldn't hurt to get a little life in here. Other than the hellish karaoke machine.
Yeah, those numbers he's adding up must be making good sense to him right now. Sounds like he cares about the place. He's not going to be overjoyed to hear that he should still know. You have to be forewarned about these things.
Yes?
The stage is all set up for your performance. Feels silent. You can hear...
So, are you ready for your thing now? Let me know when I should turn on the karaoke carousel.
The bar is full and buzzing with chatter. No one is paying you any attention. But still you feel your knees turn to noodle. You're sweating. The stage is all set.
So, are you ready for your thing now? Let me know when
I can see that.
Immediately, a loud feedback noise startles the room. You feel like an amateur. How are you supposed to hold the mic? Should you just sing into it? Where should you stand? The air is thick with anticipation. Someone dims the lights as the music starts. Okay, here we go.
I would often go there, to the tiny church there, the smallest church in San, though it once was larger. How the realm may rest there. Down through the mist there, toward the Seven Sisters, toward those pale cliffs there. I would often stay there, in that tiny yard there. I have been so glad here. Looking forward to the past here. But now, you are all alone. None of this matters. No, none of this matters at all.
A lazy applause fills the room. You feel your hands shake as awareness of your body returns to you. There is silence now, in the deep, where the voice came from. It has receded. This guy really carried you. The lieutenant doesn't say anything, but gives you a quick smile. Before
Good, good. Are we ready? I want to unplug the mic.
last words.
Ah, smallest church in Saint-Saëns, right? Cool. Now, what can I do for you? Another thing. Great. Yes?
Boy, am I ever so grateful to you, officer.
It's great to see you again, officer.
Oh, sweetie, I don't even know how to thank you for finding my husband and helping him out. Here, I want to give you a small token of my gratitude. It's a tie. Mexican origin. The pin is an antique. Quite special.
The little silvery knob holding the tie together feels warm in your hand. It's in the shape of an avian skull with 8 eyes. You could ask her about this when you get the time. It's probably a cryptid, But the phasmid, of course, is more important.
Oh, you don't want to hear about some old woman's ramblings.
Ramblings? Nonsense. Your description of the phasmid is the most precise I've ever heard.
But darling, I didn't even get the size of it right.
Measuring things is important.
You were a child, my dear. Really. It's extraordinary what...
Reflexively, the lieutenant read his familiar note.
Well, it was summer. I was building a racing track out of sand on the beach near a tall stand of reeds. Quite a tall one. Many times my height, I remember. When, all of a sudden... I'm getting ahead of myself. I was 5.5 in Betancourt in the suburbs. My grandmother had a summer...
Betancourt got bombed in the war. It used to be quite near, circa 20 kilometers from here.
The strangest moment of my life. I looked up and one of the reeds moved. Not like a plant, but like a living thing. I didn't know this can happen, so I reached my arm and touched the thing. I tried, but I was only a child. There was mud and high water. I couldn't see it anymore. I was just standing there knee-deep in mud, looking around me. I ran back home to my grandmother and asked her if reeds could walk, and told her they were looking at me. Of course, she just laughed at me, but I knew what I'd seen. For years, it was a story I told at parties when I wanted to impress boys. That sort of thing. Of course, most people just took it as a strange, amusing anecdote. So did I, honestly. But then I met Morel.
We were on a date. Can you imagine? She tells me a story, and it's the most detailed report of the Insulindian phasmid I've ever heard. The sounds. She told me it hissed.
It did, yes. Like reeds in a gust of wind.
The way it moved, the colour. How some of its limbs were white, like marble. It matched perfectly with what I know from other accounts. It was amazing. If it weren't for Lena, I might have given up hope years ago. It's no exaggeration to say that she restored my faith in my profession.
Our first, yes.
The glance is tender, yes, but tempered by something else. A thought she can't express, even to him. Interesting.
Not all of them. There is some white coloration reported, along with beige, where the camouflage ends.
It's hard to say how big things are when you're quite small yourself. To me, it seemed to be taller than I was then, but that's probably not the case.
What if it is the case?
How could she? Who imagines this? She didn't know about the phasmid.
So she couldn't have made it up, or imagined it.
That's true, yes. I'm almost certain neither my mother nor my grandmother knew of it. It was only when I started telling my story as a teenager that boys would tell me, "You trying to tell us you saw the Insulindian phasmid out there in those reeds? Get out of here."
I thought it was a wonderful story, man.
But I don't believe it. A child left unattended on a warm day. Children make up stories and then end up believing them.
You're welcome, sweetie. I do appreciate the chance to relive it whenever I get one. It was just... such an impossibly sunshiny day. So warm.
This orange machine is buzzing like an old submarine. It has a hand. You slip your finger if you want to try.
Equip the pry bar by going to the Tools tab in your inventory.
Turning the crank. What better to assuage the... Two cables are plugged into the breaker box. The red one leads to the ice bear fridge, and the black one to the ice cream maker nearby. Something close to you.
Why did you do that?
The lieutenant raises. This orange machine is dead still. It has a hand-cranked ice cream churner and an electric freezer. The ice around it slowly melting. Only the red cable is somewhere. A machine hums along with the car. A thick layer of coal dust covers the... It's dark and the echo is so...
What are you doing? Wait, really? Yes?
Tiles on the cube are still smoldered. Like a smooth draw, the filament slide. The speaker comes to life.
Good evening. Please repeat. Is this the production schedule? Good. Please repeat the past. Good. I've unlocked the production.
Really? She just used the same password? Maybe those radio computer guys aren't that paranoid after all.
Fortress accident. Is there anything else I can do for you today? Thank you, and goodbye.
Tiles on the cube are still smoldering, casting the framework in a soft glow. Fluorescent play and print keys shine on the keyboard. Behind the hatch sits a cube-like crisscross of filaments. With a quiet determination, the printer starts printing, a piece of paper unfolding like it's a project report written by the lead producer, Andrew Andy Schott, about Wirral Untethered. The first few pages give an overview of the capital and workforce, while the rest of it seems to be a production schedule. In its short time of existence, Fortress Accident SCA managed to burn through truly insane amounts of money. The first tranche of seed financing brought in 150,000 Real, but then eventually the damage reached 400,000 Real, with only half of the game finished. 400,000 Real? Yo. These guys knew how to party. Let's just say it was a real adventure for their Igaunian investor. Fortress Accident employed 18 people, the bulk of the team composed of writers and concept artists. There were also radio program and a single overburdened producer who developed a habit of popping Pyrrolidon in the basement to escape his obligation. But on the other hand, their obligations were piling up at an inhumane rate, a rate that could only be amended by Pyrrolidon. Why did Fortress Accident have so many concept artists? It didn't. No, Definitely not. A few more producers could have come in handy though, especially when dealing with writers, some of whom routinely skip to work because of mental health issues and extremely unprofessional sleep schedules. One of them even managed to steal some valuable company property before skipping town for good. The production schedule depicts their glorious descent into bankruptcy. Not the concept artists. It wasn't even the writers. With their panic attacks and 3, it was impossible not to fail. The project was too large and no amount of money could satiate the ever-expanding ambitions. They tried to make a 4 million real game with 400,000 in their bank. They thought they could bridge the gap with pure willpower and imagination. They couldn't. No, you couldn't have. Definitely not. Not a chance. Even then, success remained within an ever-narrowing margin of possibility. That is, until they discovered the Valley of the Heads. At the 11th hour, the lead designer, Jimsk-born Sulisław Jalisa, decided that what Wirral Untethered needed was a secret mystical location at the extreme edge of the map. This place was to be the Valley of the Heads, where the heads of all the headless constructs could be found. The player would have been able to choose a head for their headless party member, and each head would have been voiced on air by a professional actor. The world had never seen their kind before, and might never again. So many. The last count, there were approximately 10,000 heads for 10,000 headless men, all of which could be endlessly recombined. Do you really want to know? There seems to be a calculation here, but it may take a while. The lieutenant taps his foot impatiently, his arms folded. He's dying for a cigarette. What if you broke the radio computer? What if it's never going to stop? Well, yeah, that, and the catastrophic data loss. On the nature of the data loss, there's ominously little information in the production log. It comes at the very end, where things get fuzzy and dark, where tables and numbers seem to vanish into an eerie nothingness, before the Igaunian investors pulled the... What is clear is that one day, an unidentified numeric anomaly occurred on the East Insulindian Lintel front, just as the Wirral Untethered project was being compiled. When the project was returned, it was completely blank. The team spent weeks on the phone with Lintel, the service provider, but despite their diagnostics, they could never produce a satisfactory explanation or pay for the loss. Always read the terms, and let's face it, they didn't have any money left for a legal action. Mysteriously enough, it seems that the off-site copy happened to be on-site when the catastrophic data loss occurred. It was the lead programmer's responsibility to oversee weekly maintenance of the off-site copy and, well, keep it off-site. And S. Luukinen Kilda, the lead programmer of Fortress Accident, the off-site copy was on-site because there was no off-site. I didn't have a home anymore, so I started keeping it in the basement in the ice bear refrigerator near where I went to sleep. It was perfectly safe there. The temperature conditions were optimal. That's not what her colleagues thought. The production schedule ends with a few random notes that seem to be added sometime later. 4 months later, by an unknown author. I am the only one left, and it's gotten rather damp here. A few other businesses have gone under, too. Slipstream switched to making skis, and the hairdressers just left, cursing Martinez. They're right, though. Something's seriously wrong with this place. Martinez. All of it. Still haven't got an answer from Lintel about what happened. All I could get were the physical coordinates of the error on the East Insulindian front on that day. Since the computation happened on air, I reckoned it had to coincide with an actually existing location. I have compared the coordinates to a map of Revachol West. Turns out it's only 800 meters from here. The address is Saint-Brun 1147. Tiles on the cube are still smoldering. The Insulindian Miracle. It's easy. You know the poem by heart because you were taught it at school. It is one of the Volta Dolmar mantras repeated on the voyage that lead to the discovery of the Insulindian Isola. And the words mean, nothing will be changed about the light. Colors like gray and brown, all printed on top of each other. I found a blank white spot. All the others looked up. What a beautiful day. What beautiful weather. But all I heard was the printing machine. What strange words to celebrate a new world.
Put your hands where I can see them. Show me your hands. This is the pace. Show me your hands.
Scavenged, battery-powered police lights protrude from her back.
Madame, please drop the firearm immediately.
Failure to comply. Suspect is displaying aggression. I am the police. Don't move. Don't move. Suspect is on the loose. Suspect at large. Officer, administer street justice at our own peril. That one extra lick with a baton or extra knee strike above was what was actually required. Suspect is under control.
Be careful, detective. Don't do anything that might set her off.
You have to go for the gun sooner or later. Perhaps you can learn crucial facts before you do.
Officer in need of assistance! Suspect at large! Get on the...
Ma'am, please. We want to help you, but you need to lower that weapon.
Disturbance reported. Authorized deadly force. Sector, take the shot! Big red key!
Big red key? That's code for the battering ram. Cop talk. You know this.
Back up! Back up! Back up! Status unconfirmed! No! No, no. No. I thought Mr. Moran... Gareth! Aggravated assault, man!
There's a scenario unfolding in her head right now.
What's the situation, officer?
Law enforcement compromise! Impersonating a police officer!
Does she not believe you two are actually police officers?
License and registration, coming!
It's not a code, just disjointed words.
It's the goddamn police shitbag! Cut the pavement! You're under arrest!
As she waves her hands, you notice familiar-looking ampoules and packets sticking out of the mountain of police gear on her.
Confiscated contraband! Restricted access! 2 kilos missing! Eyewitness report compromised!
I don't think she's on drugs. Being off drugs might actually be the problem here. We can't leave. A delirious civilian is pointing a firearm at us. Your firearm. You need to solve this.
She's frantic, confused, teetering under all that gear. There's an opening if you just move fast enough. If not, host almighty, don't count on that. You saw the Binoclad can't shoot for shit. Sure, you're you, but how do we end this? She's not just gonna let you leave.
that scumbag!
Oh my God.
God, I almost blew her head off.
What is this? This isn't police issue. Police guns always have bullets. What is this? Why did you sell me this?
Grab the gun. Right now. This might be your only chance.
No one ever cares anymore.
This limbed and headed machine of pain and undignified suffering is grinding to a halt. Tired of walking the desert. It doesn't want to feel or think anymore.
Poor woman. We need to figure out what to do with her now.
Nobody's ever around. Nobody ever comes to visit me.
Her scratched skin is warm to the touch, but the person inside doesn't even know you're there.
She's in a stupor. I've seen this before. God knows for how long. Could be days when they get like this. Honestly, I don't know. Dementia, probably. Dementia and Channel 8, and loneliness. Yeah, looks like a bad case. But the question is what to do with her right now. I don't think there's any need for that. In her current state, and without... We could let Titus know. This is a perfect problem for the local peacekeepers to handle. They might even know her family. Okay, that settles it. I'll contact my station after we wrap it up for the day. But I think we're done here.
Please, leave the radio on.
Reflex to what? Being left alone, she stands motionless. Just a heap of clothes and flashes now. Maybe if you search her once more. Hey, so we've been monitoring you internally, and now we know your copper type. Yes, guess what's yours? That is only a ludicrous daydream. Guess again. No, you're the sorry cop. The cop who's sorriest. Let's make it official then, shall we? What? Jealous of the sorry cop? I think they'll be super fine. Of course you are. It's okay. That won't happen. The woman stands slumped. Is one of those things, there were narcotics in there too. You're thinking of taking them? Do. The old woman doesn't react to your touch. She doesn't even flinch as you reach out and disentangle the familiar-looking lieutenant's cap from...
Oh, is that your...
It's hard to say. It's been so long since you wore yours.
It's your hat.
You take the vial of Pyrrolidon and the bottle of speed as evidence. She didn't consume them. She didn't look high. She confiscated them.
You're taking them.
Listen to him, for once.
Thank you. I'm doing this to help you. We need to focus on the case.
The woman stands. Holding the gun feels natural and satisfying. It's like an extension of your arm. It reminds you of the day you first held it, with fear and respect, hoping you don't have to use it in vain. Sheathe your sidearm, officer. A serious law official, cop by the book,